Alright, if you're new to this place, I'm just sitting here noodling while I wait for your questions. So the more questions, the better. There's really no stupid questions. Actually, there are some stupid questions, but hey ho. Hey Julian. And of course, you need to go sign up for the practice room. You have the free one here. And then within that, you can go to the premium, where you get a ton of technique deep dives, new lesson every week, all the available courses in the classroom, my help if you get stuck on any of the lessons, weekly Q&A, live stream, and everything included in the free tier. So yeah, go check that out. Hey Vlad! Shahabar. Yes, Shahar. Well, no, not really. You can also sign up for Pro, but the absolute cheapest way to get all the deep dives is via the premium. So, Vlad, if I got you correctly, you were sitting like this for like 30 minutes. That's a lot. Well, the difference is still using the archetype Petrucci. The difference for in the premium, so it's basically two different communities. So I have the Practice Room Pro, and that's where you get your own thread, where I help you with a practice routine, and you can basically slam me with videos. I have no limit on how many questions you can do. So basically, I coach you via that thread. But that's in the Practice Room Pro. Practice Room Premium is for people who want that, for whatever reason, they don't have the money, they don't want to spend the money or whatever. Cheap bastards, basically. No, I'm kidding. You know, people make different amounts of money around the world and have different amount they can spend. So if 99 is too much for them, they can join the 29 instead, and then they get all the deep dives, and I can help them if they get stuck on a deep dive. But obviously, it's not going to be the same, you know, interaction as I would have in the Practice Room Pro. So if you want that type of interaction, that's where you should go. That being said, if you have any issue with any type of lesson in the premium, you would absolutely get my help. And I, you know, if it's easier for me to demonstrate via video, I will do that. So that's the same, but it wouldn't be fair on people in Pro to be like, yeah, you get the same for 29 instead of 99. So that's the difference. And also the difference with the Pro is that you get all my courses, the one that are teachable as well. So not only the stuff in the classroom. It's just a middle ground between them. So I'm playing this for 1-2 minutes, but there are a bunch of particular string finger combinations that adds up. Yeah, I would instead go through like each of the fingerings like this. Riveting. Turn it around. Then you go to the next string and do the same thing. And if you find a tempo where you can do that, and then you're good. You don't need to sit. Doing this for 20 to 30 minutes is insane. That's way too much. So don't do that. Hey Milo, nice to see you, man. How are you feeling? No, I never did that. In general, I think I've done some classical stuff, but not Vivaldi. Also, I think it's kind of, certain composers work better for guitar than others. And I've never liked people when they do like his guitar symphonies and they play every part with the guitar, because that's really when you hear why orchestration is so important. Because even if you can, you tune the guitars different when you play all the notes in the correct octaves and all that stuff, it's not gonna sound as good as an orchestra where you can have like, I've heard people do the, what's it called? Darth Vader's theme, when they've done that one, the Imperial March, I think it is. And some parts sound really cool, but when it's all guitar, it becomes this kind of a gray mush of everything. So you need the other timbres of the other instruments. So full orchestra is the way, I think. That's all. I never liked when people do like, here's Beethoven's blah 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 with all guitars and bass and a rock band. It's kind of like, it's not my thing. Uh-oh. Well, I think every time you do something like, it's gonna sound classical. Just a matter of going from the 1 minor to the 5 major. What now? Royal Newer. That's a mouthful. What is the best way to create exotic sequence ascending or descending? You mean as in nude girls exotic, or do you mean just exotic sounding? Sorry, my bad. Well, it's just learning a scale that you find sounds exotic. And that's going to be very subjective, because if you play this to someone living in the Amazon, it's going to be like, wow, that's really exotic. For us, not so much. But I mean, what people think in general of it, it might be that you go... I wouldn't say Lydian so much, and maybe Phrygian a bit more. But I'd say even the harmonic minor that I just played isn't that exotic. So maybe the 5th mode of harmonic minor, so Phrygian major, so it's like a Phrygian scale, but with a major third. So just playing that scale like that sounds kind of exotic. to my ears. But then you have this same scale, but it's you do another, you do a major 7 here as well, so it becomes quite weird. Yeah, but this is what Yngwie uses all the time. But if he has a song in A minor, then we generally has a section where an E pedal, and then he can play basically what everything sounds like. He can play the A minor's harmonic minor scale, but then since E is the 5th note of that scale, and you keep pedaling on the E here, every note's gonna sound in relation to that, so you get this. Get that sound. But and then it's just for you to come up with sequences that you like the sound of. And a good thing to do there is to find, like, if we have this. It's the same thing repeated in octave, so it's going down. No, I don't. I haven't checked it out, the actual riff. I don't even have it in my head right now. So no, I don't. It's a cool song though. Yngwie has down low quite cool riffs actually. And also using the diminished arpeggios, so you can go. And that's a bit of a different way to do it actually, where you go down, 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 up, 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 up. So I want to have the minor thirds here, so minor third, minor third. And obviously you can do that standard Yngwie thing as well. But these sound so much like Yngwie, so you can't really do them without it, you know. People just, hey, that sounds like Yngwie. So. You kind of have to mix it up a bit. But I like this one because it's quite easy to finger. And you don't need to double. You can do that as well. And another thing, actually, if you do the well, kind of, that's the maybe just E minor major 9th, minor 3rd, 5th, major 7th, 9th. let's see. When you're shredding at high speed, what are the best tips for staying perfectly in time? Well, that's a lot of slow practice, basically. It's a good one, Milo. Do it. So for this stuff, for example, I've never sat at like trying to do it super fast. I've been working on it. A tempo where everything works, and then trying it. Try to get it faster afterwards. So a ton of slow practice. The worst thing you can do, in my opinion, is to do what a lot of people say, like, oh, start slow, which I agree with, but you need to practice slow in the correct way. You need to focus on fast transitions. You don't want to go like, slow everything down like that. So, but what happens is that people start there and it works, and then they get up to a tempo where it starts to kind of work, where like accuracy is like 100% here. But then when they get up to like, I don't know, 16th notes at around 80 to 100, and maybe it starts to go sound kind of like, you know, a bit crappy, they keep working on it at that crappy tempo, which means that they're not quite there. And so if you're at 80% and then you keep working at that tempo, and then like, yeah, okay, that's good, and then they maybe get it up a little faster, and then they're maybe at 75%, then it starts getting shittier and shittier and shittier, instead of being at the you need a lot of really perfect reps. Which doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to go faster, but you want to spend 90% of your time really slow, and then the remaining time you try to do it a bit faster, and you can do different practice techniques, you know, like dotted rhythms and all kinds of things that I've already covered in, like, if you go to the practice room, different ways of practicing. But for me, like, pretty much 99% of the stuff is based on doing it well. Even when I do try things fast, I want to find, like, I'd rather do that than trying to be like, you know, so that 1% might be me trying to, like, okay, how fast can I do this? And then, you know, just crash and burn. And then I'm fine with that. But the actual practice, whenever I repeat something over and over again, it needs to be perfect. Yeah, that's why he has a bucket on his head. And I know that there's a lot of guitar bros online that's like, no, you need to push the speed, just, you know, just push the tempo and clean it up later. It's like, okay, great, but a lot of people never seem to get to that point where they clean it up later. It's all like, you know, not that great. So. And actually, a lot of people are like, oh, it's boring to practice slowly. Yes, but if you focus on the right things, it's actually quite challenging. So if I'm playing a scale, I'm focusing on fast transitions between the notes, because that will help my synchronization a ton. But also, if you notice my index finger, it prepares the next string. So which then will help so you don't like flop around too much with your fingers when you play faster. So it's definitely not, you know, if you practice slow correctly, it's a lot to think about. And the reason why the tempo has to be slow is because it's very hard, if not impossible, to control all this stuff at a certain tempo. So. Is there actual KFC buckets he uses? Wouldn't they be a bit like, take it as, you know, because his whole persona is kind of weird, so not every business would love that. You know what I mean? Ham horns. Yeah, it's not to get political, but it's fucking weird now with the whole. It's just people say the most anti-Semitic shit, and people are like, yeah, whatever. It's like, what? The fuck are you talking about? Just to put it into perspective, how fucked up I think this is. I had a guy apply for my Practice Room Pro, and he's from Israel. Super nice guy. And he was like, oh yeah, I wasn't sure that you would accept me because I'm from Israel. It's like, the fuck? It's like, it's crazy. I find it really insane because, you know, whatever you think about conflicts in the Middle East or whatever, you can't blame fucking one religion for it. Then if you do that, then you have to say like, well, all Muslims did 9/11, so it's all of them. This all their fault, all of them, which is not the case either. So it's like, what the fuck? So strange. Anyway, enough politics and religion. Never a good thing to go down, but I just think that's horrible, Shahar. I don't know what the fuck people are doing. It's really strange to me. You can disagree with, you know, with whatever Israel is doing without becoming a full-blown Nazi. As usual, people are weird assholes. I did not. No, no need for that. I took private lessons for 2 years with a composer in Spain over Skype. I must say, like, a lot of universities and things like that are overrated, really. Especially if you, because some private students have been like, oh, do you think I should go to Berkeley, for example? And I was like, no. Why? It's like, I think Berkeley is like 30,000 per year, and it's a 4-year thing. That's crazy to me. Because imagine, like, back in the day, when I went to GIT, there was nothing similar. I could not, I live in a small town, it was hard to get material and all that stuff. So me going to GIT was a great thing back then. But now, if you have $30,000 per year to spend, and you could study online with anyone you would like, pretty much. You could set up your own, like, musical education just by, having people to study with privately. And you would probably not even be close to $30,000 in a year. And you would have a way, personal attention. So I don't have anything against Berkeley technically like that, but that price tag is ridiculous, I find. Because especially like if you graduate, which most people don't. So all these, like, you have Vi, you have Petrucci and the Dream Theater Gang, Dimiola, none of them graduated. They went for a year or two, and then they just fucked off because it was like, it was a springboard. And when they went, there was actually, you couldn't get that information as easily, if at all, at that time. But now you can get anything, pretty much, for way less money. So I'm not really sure what you're paying for, right? And also, you come there with your Berkeley degree, unless, what are you going to do with it? Unless you want to teach at some school or something. But no band is going to give a shit. You either can play or not, so. No, I know they have honorary degrees, because that's yeah, sorry, it always does this. Can't be that quiet, though. Is it better now? Anyway. That honorary stuff, though, is just, I think it's always, man. That honorary stuff is, just a big commercial thing, right? Like, look, Steve Vai, he went to Berkeley, that's why he can play like he can play. It's like, really? So it's in today's day and age, besides like the community aspect and you meet people and stuff like that, but you can still do that online, right? So I don't know. For me, with those prices, it's kind of ridiculous. Imagine starting out in life with like $120,000 in student loans, and you have a music degree. Like, wow, okay. Yeah, I think it's good to work out. And, because it's not only for looks, it's like for just feeling good as well. Also, I think I'm just obsessed with progressing in in anything that I'm interested in. So the gym is a good thing for that. I think the people work out have an advantage. Well, yeah, but also, I mean, if you be like, you need to go play tennis 5 days a week, I'll be like, no, fuck off. I wouldn't want to do that. So I think you need to have something that you want to do, and then you don't need to be that disciplined. I have a degree, but it was from a community college directed by a sax player who played with Mel Torme and Doc Severinsen, and it was worth it. That's nice. But also, community college, you didn't pay out of your butthole for that, did you? So, I think education is really important, but I think there's different ways of getting it now. So I did, apart from the studying privately for the orchestral stuff, I also went through, if you guys remember, Dick Grove, the Grove School of Music. All the Toto guys went there. And I bought all his courses. Even the biggest program was like, fuck, what was it? Like $3,500 or something. It's like crazy, crazy program. It's called the Composing and Arranging program. But so worth it. So it's like 160 DVDs, yes, DVDs, and it's like 3,000 pages textbook. So, oh man, that's really cool. Not nerve-wracking at all, right? But you should know who Dick Grove is then, right? He was a real genius in my mind. Incredible educator and like just, yeah, amazing. Yeah, thanks. I like them a lot. I mean, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't play them. That's the thing. People think like, well, you got them for free. Yeah, but if someone gave me a guitar for free and it was a piece of shit, I wouldn't want to play it, right? So definitely, for their price range, I don't think you get much better guitars. So. Yeah, Sir is really cool. But like you said, they're quite pricey. I do think though, up to like $3,000, I think there's like a difference in the quality of the guitars. But I think after that, you have like this, oh yeah, but this is a gold rimmed whatever. It's like, I don't give a shit. Does it sound better or feel better? Not really. Then what's the point? Because I saw those Paul Stanley guitars. And they were like I think the equivalent of $6,000. It's like, fuck no. It's not gonna be just paying for, Paul's fifth Lamborghini or something. So I don't really care about the cosmetic stuff, but exactly, like the dragon inlay Paul Reed Smith. It's like, I love Paul Reed. You can see my Paul Reed Smith hanging there in the back. Love it, but I have the bird inlays, and it's about as, I don't give a shit. But having the dragons, be like, wow, do I want to pay however much more for that? So yeah. Also, I think it's a difference now as well, because exactly, sure. But I think it makes when I started playing in '92, if you bought a guitar for like, I don't know, $500, it would be all right. Now you can buy a guitar for $500 and it will be really good, because for better or worse, back in the day, it was more handmade stuff, I guess, or shitty factories. I think now with these big guitar factories in Indonesia and whatever, they have their shit down. So even though it might not be like the quality of a Sir, it's gonna be really good quality, and it's gonna be very consistent as well because of the precision instruments they have. So I think you get more for your money now, basically. And also I think, you should have the best guitar you can afford, I think, because it's, you don't want to feel like you're being held back by the instrument and like, oh, if all my guitar was better, I would be playing better. Because if you have a good guitar or like, decent guitar, you can't be like, oh, my tone is shit, but that's because I don't have X, Y, and Z. No, you have a decent one. You just need to practice more. Any more questions before I'm logging out for the day? See if anyone is in here. I'm using the archetype Petrucci, so neural DSP. No, it's not what do you play? That type of thing. I know how to do it, but I haven't practiced it. I think this one has it. I have some that don't have it. I think the red one that I use a lot has it. I think actually maybe most of them have. I haven't noticed any wearing off. Yeah, I've heard of head rush. I never tried it though. I think you know, the frets are gonna be, they're quite sturdy anyway. So I have my Strat, and that's just normal nickel, and that's alright. I only had one guitar that I ever need to refret, and that was the Paul Reed Smith, but that was like 14 years of hard playing. I think it's quite common now to have, you know, stainless steel frets. Then it should be fine. Nice to see you as well, Milo. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, so I'm gonna get going now, but you know, if you like this kind of stuff and want some more contact with, actually most people in the chat will be members of the practice room, so go check this out. Totally free. But you also have some upgrades if you want it. You don't have to. There's still free stuff in the classroom, so it's totally up to you. So yeah, hope to see you in there. And also, I need to accept you, so you just need to answer some questions. But I'm usually quite quick about it, and unless you put something supremely stupid in there, you should get in with no problem. I have a question. Do you give mental attention to Pickslant Escape when you're picking? No, not at all. The thing is with Escape, if I have to think about all that stuff when I'm playing, it would be really hard to play. Do you know what I mean? Because if I play something like this, if you look at my thumb, it's gonna change a bit. It's not completely, you know, stationary. If it will slow that down, I would do some small adjustments, but I didn't develop that by thinking about like, oh, ooh, haha, ooh, right? Because no, it's enough to have to think about fucking notes I don't want to play. So while I don't think Troy Grady is wrong that, you know, the Pickslanting stuff helps, it's not. I get this question a lot, right? But I see it more as people who he built this whole theory by studying. Neither of them knew about this stuff, so clearly you don't need it to get your picking up. So it's more about when you repeat something, unless you really like no, I'm not gonna move my hand, I'm gonna keep it this way, you're gonna find that it's almost like the path of least resistance. I think a good thing to try is just go like it's pentatonic thing. So you go 7 5 7 5, like that. Now you can see my pick is, you know, downward pick slanting, or that's how I refer to it. This escape stuff. Yeah, all these terms is just too much. Anyway. But if I change that as I'm doing this, it just feels crap to play it. And I could practice like this until I'm, you know, 200 years old, and it wouldn't get much better, because this, every time I do a pick stroke here, I'm gonna get stuck in this string, so I need to go around, and you know, all that stuff. So but you need to be good at both, right? Because if I go up, now you can see that I changed the pick slanting, but I don't think about that. And obviously I didn't start practicing at that tempo either. I started like, or even slower. And smaller patterns as well. So if I go, if I do just, then I need to change. I go down, up, down, up, down, and then I need to change there. But even trying to do that without, you know, trying to think about that, it's really hard. So I'm not thinking about, you know, moving my thumb or doing anything here except just doing it. And how to get to just doing it is do a shit ton of slow reps, and where you kind of another thing that really helps is to hold the pick really lightly when you start working on something, because the pick will kind of tell you the path of least resistance. Then you just hold the pick a little bit tighter so you can get the tone that you want. But you don't, what you don't want to do is like try to be completely rigid and be like, do that, because then you're gonna, you know, you just get stuck in the strings. So that's one thing you can try, but also doing this planting. So I'm basically, I make sure that I prepare the pick for the next note as I do it. So if you just do two strings like this, I have a video about that I put up a few weeks ago, and there was some retard, excuse my French, who was like, well, if you do that, you're gonna get stuck in the strings. And it's typical, like, he didn't watch the actual video, because I show it on one string first, then I show the string crossing. And this planting stuff is, if you can do this, that means you can do that, because you need to, if you move the pick really quickly, like that, so I'm going from the D string to the G string, preparing the pick as I'm actually on the string, I have to do the correct motions that work the best for the way that I pick for it to happen, because if I don't do that, I'm gonna get like a double pick here because I get stuck in the string or whatever. So that's a really good way to work on this at the very fastest tempo you can do it, but still with control, because it's not about doing this, it's about doing, it's about the transition from string to string here. So that can help a lot as well. But I think above all, being really mindful when you practice, and not like, oh, this feels like crap, so I'm gonna just push into that and hope that it feels better. Most likely not, so. So that's a helpful thing. But you need both. You can't just be a downward Pickslanter, I think, because then you're painting yourself into that technique corner where, like, oh shit, I have to, you know, make all these shapes now work so my picking hand doesn't, you know, get sad. So you're better off working on it both ways. So not getting stuck. Thank you. And also, it's about it looking organic. That's actually something that Troy talked about in the Cracking the Code forum, because he said like when basically what I'm doing is two-way Pickslanting, because I'm not just doing one, right? Because I think that's you're gonna create more problems for yourself by doing that than not. And what he said was like when he looks at people who've learned two-way Pickslanting by watching Cracking the Code, where they go like, okay, so I'm going 3 notes, right? Then technically then they need to make sure that this downstroke changes Pickslant so I get to the upward Pickslanting because I'm going to the next string with an upstroke. And same thing here when you go back. So he said you can see it when people pick because it looks kind of mechanical when they do it, when they've learned it that way, versus if you've done it organically, but just repeating the stuff and also starting on an upstroke. So the inside-outside picking, that was pretty much as much, as far as the technique talk went back in the day, where like it was outside picking or inside picking. And I figured like, well, if I want to be able to improvise faster lines, I need to be able to do both, because otherwise it's too much to think about otherwise if you keep putting up these like blocks for yourself. And you might always be more comfortable with outside picking or downward Pickslanting or upward Pickslanting, but the goal is to get the other way up to a decent level as well, so it's not a complete train wreck when you do it. If I play something like that's probably gonna work better with downward Pickslanting for me, but I can still do it with upward Pickslanting, and that's gonna protect me if I'm improvising some line like that. So and also when I say improvising, it's like, oh well, you probably played something similar before, but I'm not talking about improvising note by note. It's more improvising like, here's one word, ascending fours, descending fours, and then you can connect those two through the scales and different sequences. But I don't need to learn these long things as like, oh, here's pentatonic fast picking lick 32B. I can come up with it as I'm doing it. So I'm not stuck with like specifics that I always have to start here and end here, right? It can be more fluid than that. But that hinges on your ability to getting all these different sequences together, so you have sort of a vocabulary of those, which you can put them together then in the scales. So that's my approach to it anyway. Because some people are like, oh, you didn't improvise that, you played a scale. Yeah, of course, I'm not going like just making shit up. I'm using patterns. So, but still, that's better than having these long lines where is akin to memorizing long sentences that only make sense in a specific scenario, instead of learning those words and being able to pick them apart and then put them together so you can say whatever you need to say. It's like now, English is my second language. If you ask Shahar, he thinks it's my 5th language or something, because he doesn't like my accent, bastard. But anyway, this is my second language, and when I have an idea that I want to express, we'll only be able to express that idea to the level of my vocabulary. So if my vocabulary was, worse than it is, I would have a hard time trying to explain this stuff to you. So that's the thing. Anyway, great question though. Love this. Exactly. I mean, every instrument has this stuff. And that's how we hear music, and like that's how we process things anyway. Because if you're gonna play something like I can't think like no, right? I have to know this shape and be able to think like, okay, no, or like note. You don't have to think. If you try to think about every note the whole time, you're not gonna be able to go very fast. So, yeah, cool, great questions. Go to practice room, sign up, and